Warning: the following live video is unscripted, unrehearsed, and presented in a raw format. Inappropriate language, suggestive humor, alcohol and tobacco use may be present at any time. ESV takes a unique and raw approach to the topics we discuss. Often we inject bits of humor in order to lighten the mood. Though we may laugh at times that may seem inappropriate to many professionals and counselors, we are not either. We are real people leading real lives, talking about real situations and experiences. None of the advice or experiences given are to be assumed to work for you the same as any one of us. We are not a hotline. We are an avenue of discovery and enlightenment.
We've got to work together.
Good evening. About 1 year ago, we were all sitting here. Our kids were going back to school. Life was completely normal. Things have changed. Almost 6 months to the date, something happened unexpected in everybody's lives. Something occurred we weren't expecting. People stopped working. People were forced to wear masks. People were forced to get their kids out of school. A pandemic hit. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew what to expect. We've heard a lot of bad things about the pandemic, everything from political issues with it, one side or the other using it, to their advantage or disadvantage. We've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about the pandemic. And I'll tell you right now, here at ESV, we don't give a shit about that. We care about the people. We care about the ones who are actually fully affected by this event. I'm Keith Litfin for ESV, Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Today we're going to be talking to real people who have dealt with different situations related to the pandemic, good and bad, for COVID-19. Once again, we're not going to talk politics about the issue. We just want to see how people were affected. Don't forget while you're watching the video to like, subscribe, and chat with us live during the show. You can like and subscribe to our Facebook page or our YouTube channel just by going to Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Before we continue any further, I'm going to bring in our first panelist. On top of myself, of course, we've got Brandon Ponke. Brandon, how you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So,
I'm excited to talk about this stuff because I feel like you can never have this conversation without it getting sideways and annoying and everybody getting heated. So this will be a nice space to be able to talk about just how it affected us in our lives instead of our politics.
well, that's the problem that I've seen with everybody. You bring up COVID, you bring up any of that stuff, and suddenly it's fake, it's not real, or it's some kind of thing brought up. And that's not what people actually want to talk about. They want to talk about the stuff they've been dealing with. They want to talk about how life changed for them. Those that don't know, I'm an entertainer. I have my own DJ company. We do trivia and everything. And of course, March 15th, my work came to a dead stop. And that was the end of everything for me. But I don't know, Brandon, what do you do?
I just work at a small steel shop, and we ended up continuing to work. It was a real weird March, right? Everybody was all like, we don't know what is going to happen.
Nobody did at that point.
But
Half the time.
we ended up staying open, ended up being essential based on what customers we had that were government transportation. So I'm very fortunate in that aspect that I didn't lose any income. I know a lot of people did, and that's a terrifying thing to think about. I'm sure it was terrifying for you in the beginning.
Well, especially when people don't know how long it's going to last us. And I think that was one of the biggest issues people, dealt with. They're like, at first, okay, we can do this for a moment, and nobody knew how long it was going to be. We have another one here coming into us on our panel. This is going to be Karen Glossop. Karen, how are you doing? You are actually new to the ESV show right now. We're glad to have you aboard. So before we continue with pandemic talk, tell us about yourself, Karen.
My name is Karen Glossop. I work for the mortgage industry in an appraisal management company. My job, I went solely home when everything shut down. Basically, it was a huge change, and everything in my life changed as a result, both good and bad. So, I don't know what else to say about that part of it yet.
That's really it. I mean, it's been good and bad. Everybody thinks about the negative aspects, and there's been a lot of them, like you were saying, Brandon. Totally. Income stopped for a lot of people, jobs stopped. But there have been some good benefits to COVID as well. I mean, there's been some changes in our lives we never expected to happen, and some changes we all forgot about over time.
Yeah, so for some people, it could have been good in both ways. One of the most potent things that changed, right, is being kind of stuck at home and a little bit more alone with your thoughts. For some people, that was a little difficult at first, I'm sure, but it also gave us all a chance to kind of take a step back from our crazy routines or whatever we had going on and be able to sit back and analyze where we were at in our lives, where we were going, what was going on, and kind of get a chance to breathe and figure out what we want, what we're in the middle of, what we could change, what we're feeling inside that we didn't have time to think about. There's a lot of good aspects to this once you were able to take a deep breath, accept what was going on, and find positivity in it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely
absolutely.
understand how you feel on that one. The first 2 months I was home, my mental health is dependent on whether or not I get to leave my house and feel useful and interact with other people. That's part of my mental health. And when I couldn't do that, it took a big hit. For 2 months, I was in a very dark place. Very, very dark place. Because I couldn't interact with people. I couldn't go out. I couldn't feel useful for a moment.
Well, yeah, that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people were hit with, too. At first, I'm going to be honest. COVID hit. I didn't have to go to work. I was happy as a pig in shit. I mean, I loved it. I'm like, this is awesome. I actually don't have to work for a change. And it was perfect, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be a couple weeks, things would get back to normal. That changed a little bit. How you doing over there, Jan? That changed a little bit over time. I had realized that in all my decades, that's all I'm going to say, of time on here, I had never been a week without dealing with a crowd. So it hit me really hard at that point. The first month was great. The second month was definitely a big change in every way.
Yeah, there was definitely a point where I was jealous of everybody that I had to keep working, right? And grass is always greener, right? How dare you complain that you're still getting an income, that you're still able to work? And I'm like, yeah, but I want to just lay in bed for a couple weeks.
Wouldn't it be nice to take a couple week vacation?
Yeah. But no, you can't think like that. And grass is always greener, like I said. So I'm thankful for how it went down in my personal situation.
Once again, we encourage anybody watching, tell us any thoughts you have about what you experienced, what was a good aspect, a bad aspect, and we'll definitely talk about those as well. Let's start with the good stuff, because everybody's heard all the bad stuff. Let's talk about some good aspects.
Good aspects for sure would involve the fact that I am actually a pretty lazy person. I really enjoy just staying home. It's my favorite. So this kind of gave me the excuse, I guess. Besides work, it was I'm going to go home, just chill out. And it let everybody else kind of do the same thing. And I had my relationships with people improved. Just people had the time to settle down from their routines and just talk to each other and kind of get to know each other more. I think everyone was a little too running around, a little too lost in their routines.
As much as I think people were upset about it initially, having the kids home and stuff, I think it did something unexpected, which was family. Families suddenly started getting together again. I don't know if you can really remember it, Brandon, but what was it, 2003, we had a huge blackout.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was the best. We played euchre for 3 days straight.
Oh, we did. We drove around finding people in the dark, and we're like, come on, let's go
Let's
now.
go play euchre.
I'll turn my headlights on my car. We'll be outside. We'll play some games and stuff. And it really brought people closer together. And finally, dinners at the table were something again.
Yeah, I do.
Watching TV.
I do vaguely remember that at the ripe age of 7, 8. Math is hard, but I do remember it was it was cool though, because no one was afraid of going out and getting sick or anything. It was just kind of this thing where the lights weren't working, so we were using candles and lanterns, and yeah, it was I wasn't that connected to anything yet. I was a little too young, so it's not it wasn't a big loss to me besides, maybe watching the TV. But it was cool. It was like I got to spend more time with my parents. We did a lot of games too. We did a lot of just playing in the backyard until it was too dark and we had to use lanterns. So it is kind of similar to that.
I felt like a giant kid. For the first time I drove, an Oakland Mall had disappeared. You know, you couldn't see anything even on the side of the road. It was so dark at night. But in this one,
It was definitely interesting.
this one was a little different because you could see everything, but you couldn't move. You couldn't go out. One thing I discovered, bidets are awesome. Because toilet paper shortage, I was already thinking about getting a bidet at some time. That thing squirts up water in my ass and it feels amazing. I mean, that's something you discover that you never would think you're going to do. And like now, I don't want to live life without one. Like
So,
Go ahead.
my big positive thing was that I didn't wear a bra for like 3 months. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
What happened
having
when
to
you
get
put
ready
one
for
back
work?
on?
It was hard.
It's like
It was
sandpaper
sweaty.
on you again?
It was sweaty. I was like, ew.
Why did I
But-
ever do this?
But like, what? I'm like, what? I didn't wear one for like 3 months, and I'm like, oh my God, I never want to wear one again. Again.
I talked about it in the previous show. I'm like, my clothes baskets did. They collected dust. I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. I don't want to go out and fight things and stuff. But I did enjoy being at home for that period.
Yeah, when it first started, I was living with my grandmother, so I did decide to continue to wear clothes while when it first started.
That's preferable.
But I did eventually, a couple months in, and I ended up getting my first apartment, moved out, and I don't know. I'm sure I still would have had the pandemic not have happened, but maybe it made it a little bit easier.
Right, Jan?
Totally right, Jan.
She's like, I haven't worn one since 1989.
Hey, I haven't had to wear mine in quite a while, so it's been really nice. I'm
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I don't even know if I want to go back to them.
Uh,
What about loneliness? Who did you live with, Brandon?
Yeah, I lived with my grandmother, and then at a certain point also my cousin. And, you know, my poor grandma, she always loved to travel all the time, and she wasn't able to do that. And it just got weird. It got scary. You know, she was a little older, so we were all a little worried about it, and I was still working. So that was like a little bit of a fear. And since I was still going out to go to work, I ended up being the Meyer run person, and we didn't know if I was suiting up to go to battle every time. I don't know. You know?
Did you have to deal with any like isolation with her? Did you like try to isolate her?
We kept our distance for sure. The way the house was sectioned off, we tried not to get too close, just in case, especially at the beginning where it was just real. Who knows? But she's doing great. So
Well, that's good because I know a lot of people weren't at this point. There's been people in all the industries. We've all lost people we care about, and some we haven't. But again, it's more about the topic. What about you, Karen? I mean, I believe you had a son living with you at the time, correct?
Yes, my son lived with me when the pandemic started, but he moved out like in June to be with like his, baby and baby mama, and he lives in Rochester now. But for the first couple of months, and at the time he had 2 high-risk jobs. He worked at Popeyes and he worked at like the dollar store. So he was in constant contact with people all the time. And I got sent home. Like, I can do my job all over the internet. So, they sent us all home. And it was super great to work from home. But it was a little bit at risk because, he had a high-risk job. We kept our distance, but I live in a tiny little apartment. And so it's not that easy to be that far apart. But, he has his room, or he had his room, and I have my room. So we were pretty okay.
What about your job? Like, did he interfere at all with your job?
Once in
Did
a
it make
while
it
he would.
difficult?
Once in a while, and not really. He was pretty good about. He really didn't wake up until I was already working, and he usually didn't interrupt me when I was working. So that wasn't too much of an issue. Just like, bye, Mom, wave at him. Be okay.
Different aspect of it. How long, and this is probably one of the worst aspects, how long did it take you to realize that Netflix has a lot of crap on it?
Oh my God, not long at all. Not really at all. The only what I literally have Netflix just so that I can watch anime and Star Trek, and those are the only things I watch, and it's only not to bog your server down. So,
yeah, I was such a Netflix loyalist until this. and it's mostly because I don't have the attention span to watch that much. Like it takes me a year to watch a show, but I did inherit through a nice relationship some HBO Max, and I ended up doing the entire Game of Thrones.
Oh,
in
so you were
about-
occupied for a while.
Yeah, I was at least at the night times.
They were smart. They got off the air in time. They told you winter's coming. We thought it was about the show.
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah,
we got
they
somebody
knew
else
something.
joining us. We got somebody else joining us right now. This is going to be another one of our shoulders, our lead shoulders. Please welcome back Nikki Colley. How you doing, Nikki?
Guys. Hi guys. Late to the party, fashionably late. That's my thing.
We like you that way.
Fashionably late. It's okay.
How you guys doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. We were actually just talking about the pandemic and how COVID had affected people. First, I want to ask you, Nikki, though, what was your job? What do you do for a living?
So I work for a health and wellness business. Well, I own my own health and wellness business. I'm kind of a tier of the ultimate big guy, but that was something that COVID-19 or the pandemic kind of brought into my path, because I was considered what they deemed as at risk. So I couldn't be out there in the workforce, but I needed to bring money into my house. I got kids. So I just kind of went all in and said, you know what, I guess it's time to start a business. Sounded logical.
Especially
that's
because most
actually good.
businesses can be run online now.
So what exactly
Right.
happened with the pandemic? When you first found out, what were you thinking?
I was shitting my pants, if I'm just being honest.
Well, yeah.
It affected my family probably much differently than the general population, because at the time my family was legit homeless. We were in between homes. We didn't know where we were going to lay our heads, and then all of a sudden we're being told we can't leave where we are, and we're like, okay. So we were staying in a hotel at the time, because we had a house that we were just waiting to be finished renovation, and unfortunately the lockdown spooked the landlord, and he was like, I'm sorry to say, I can't rent to you, because I don't have any guarantees that you're going to be able to pay for it, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, now what? So, and it's not cheap to live in a hotel, especially when you've got a family living there, because we had to make sure we had enough beds for everybody. And it was pretty scary. Yeah, it was pretty scary, but we persevered, and blessings come in many forms. And I'm just happy to say we were blessed to find a home within just like 2 weeks of it all kind of coming to a head, and we're kind of put into place where we're meant to be at a time we're meant to be there. And that's just kind of how it happened. It just kind of fell in my lap.
Well,
Jan
that's
with the good timing. I like
that's
it.
getting better.
Right.
Nice job, Jan. Yeah, retired from Walmart just in time last September. I got to tell you, you're one of the lucky ones in a sense, but I'm just dying to know how sometimes people like that did. You definitely had free time on your hands, so that's good. I didn't retire, obviously. I'm not there yet, and I'm probably never going to retire. I'm going to have a microphone in my hand when I'm in the grave. I'm definitely being buried with one. But I was in a little different situation when it hit. I had just gotten out of a relationship, actually, and pretty much emptied my house a week before COVID hit. So I went from having anybody around, period, to absolutely nobody. And those that don't know, I don't really have any family. I have one brother, is the only immediate family I have anymore. And that was the hardest thing in the world. I used to have a dog named Butler. He was definitely my best friend, and he had passed away on Christmas. And I'm like, I am not getting another dog. No matter what it takes, I'm not getting one. Come about April, I'm like, where the fuck are my dogs? I need a dog. I started going everywhere. I'm like, I just need a dog. I need somebody to talk to. And, dog's just going to look at you like, hey, yeah, what are you saying? Does that have to do with food? Let me know. I was trying to. I finally got one.
You were a little down. I could see it.
Well, yeah, it hit really hard. It's something I wasn't expecting, and I kept thinking it's going to be over. It's going to be over. And then, of course, when things got back, I'm like, I didn't know. I was not sure if I wanted to stay home still, because now I was adjusted to it. and it was nice. And I got back. I'm like, I don't even know what to do when I'm back in the scene in front of all these people. Fortunately, there weren't a lot of people yet, but they're going to be there.
Helps you
I actually
ease in.
enjoyed the time that like the downtime because it, it gave my family like I said, we got into a home, so it gave us a chance to get into our home, get settled, but B, it gave us our family a chance to kind of reconnect. You know what I mean? Where I know some people like you, Keith, like some people probably felt really isolated because they didn't have people around them. And I feel fortunate that I did have my family. I had my children, I had my husband. Now, that's not to say that I wasn't ready to kill him some days, but that goes with the territory. But yeah, it definitely gave our family a chance to reconnect.
And it wasn't just families. I mean, were you going to say something there, Brandon?
No, I was about to say I got better relationships with my friends too in the same way, and even though we weren't in the same place, it was just gave us all a minute to be able to talk on the phone, and
There was a
FaceTime
lot
and
more
all that
communication.
Yeah.
And it brought even family from a distance. I didn't get to see my brother all that much because we both work completely opposite schedules. And that was pretty much, like I said, the only immediate family I have around that I get to see. And when that hit, it was a conscious effort to get together every week and just try to make things better. And my family became stronger. But also, as you see, Monica had mentioned somewhere, the communities were definitely coming together too. A lot of homeless, they were put in hotels, and it was supposed to be shelters. The homeless shelters were putting the homeless in the hotels until last month. And you got to see a result from the community that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
Regardless of division that may have happened during the process and is going on now, at that time, people were really trying hard to work together, and I thought that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
That
it
is
gave
a
everybody
beautiful thing.
an opportunity to reset their perspective on what was important, and that includes us having the better relationships and reconnecting with friends and family, but also in just the community itself. It's like, we can set aside some of the stupid differences when everything is getting real scary. It's just going to be better if we work together and support each other, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love like the schools all came together. They were, giving out meals to kids where, sadly there's a lot of kids who, school is how they eat. And when school was kind of removed for some of these kids, they weren't able to, have breakfast or lunch. So it was nice to see, like you said, the community pulling together and kind of wrapping their arms around each other and, we're all in it together sort of thing.
When I was a kid, I was one of those kids who depended on, free lunch at school to get lunch sometimes, most of the time, actually.
Yeah.
And so that's a really important thing. Like I saw signs all over my neighborhood, the Tim Hortons right across the street from my house. Between 11 and 2 p.m. or 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., they were giving away like free kids meals just so that kids had something to eat. And that was a very good thing to see.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah, the
We didn't
Tim
have no
Hortons.
Tim Hortons when I was a kid.
They have kids meals?
What the hell?
Spoiled bastards.
We had Dawn and Dunkin' Donuts. If you wanted anything else, you were fucked.
You
You
want
had Dawn Donuts and you had Dunkin' Donuts. That's about it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Don Donuts was good. Hi, Don.
7-Eleven did it too. I think a lot of restaurants started doing it, or like kids meals. They were doing
Or
kids
free
meals
slice
from
of
11 to
pizza
2.
or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one thing, Monica, that you just said about the lunch and breakfast drop-offs. I had a roommate at the time, and she's been moved out for a little bit. But she worked for the school district, too, and her work didn't really stop for that reason because she was part of the group that was going around getting food together, getting meals together. And so she kept employed in that sense, just trying to make sure everybody was being fed. And honestly, sometimes you are around people, your roommates, and you think they don't care about anybody but themselves, all that. And you get to see that side of them that they really do. And when push comes to shove, we are a great group of people. We are, as a civilization, we really do care. We just don't like to show it
Yeah.
because we just care more about this outer appearance and we never think inside. So Karen, if there was one thing you missed during this lockdown that you wish was still around, what would it be? That it may come back, but it was just something you could not do anymore, could not see, could not eat. What? Besides Fogo de Chao, by the way, great place.
Oh my God, Fogo de Chao. Probably okay. Besides like restaurants, okay, because I enjoy going to dinner. We go to dinner every Sunday, so that was a big thing. That not doing that, but also the other thing that I probably missed the most was karaoke.
Karaoke
That
for
was.
sure.
I love karaoke. I love to go sing. I love, not saying I do it every week, but once a month, twice a month, maybe. This is when I'd go and sing. But when that got taken away, I was like, I have no social activities. All I do is play video games.
By the way,
So,
go ahead, one more before I go.
no, that was it. Go ahead.
I want to just bring up too, Jan. First of all, we know that your topic you have. We actually know your daughter. Your daughter is one of our shoulders on here, and in about a week and a half, we're going to be bringing up that topic, and Shannon's definitely going to be on here for it. I just want to let you know, so we will be talking about that, and I hope everything is actually good down in Arlington, Texas, or Forest Hill, Arlington, Texas. I imagine you got hit just as hard. But the other question I wanted to hit on here was for Nikki. Monica was asking, can you talk about how it really affected your kids?
Yeah, it was definitely life changing to, I mean, I have to say the kids of all the communities definitely did a great job of, adapting. Kids adapt very well to change, for the most part. But my kids felt very isolated. They missed their friends. They for once wanted to be in school and they couldn't be there. Where now this year I have a junior and senior who incidentally are doing school virtually, and they ended their 10th and 11th grades virtually. And like my 10th grader last year, he had gotten invited to be a part of a program that you only get the invitation your sophomore year, where you get to be, it's called My Lead. So you get to be part of an alumni. You get to go away to Michigan State University and stay in the college dorms for the weekend. And you get a really cool experience. Well, he lost that opportunity because of this. He did do it virtually, but it's not the same effect. You don't get the same effect when you're just looking through a computer screen. So that was rough for him, and he adapted, and he, bless his heart, he gave up 4 Saturdays, I believe, for like 8 hours to be able to participate in their program that they did do. But it still wasn't the same. And then my junior, he had worked all year long in his robotics program at school. They were building, they were building go-karts, but they had like teams that they had 2 separate ones going on, and they were at the tail end of it, probably, towards the end when they'd actually be able to drive these things, and they didn't get to finish the project. And now here he is sitting virtually his senior year of high school. He's actually contemplating on going to the face-to-face learning just so he can go back to his robotics class, because you can't take that virtually. You can't, build robots online, just so that he can kind of finish what he started.
That's important. A lot of people who are going to school right now are still entering in the virtual environment.
Yeah.
They're still doing it. What is some of the things you might have said personally to cope with your kids during that? I mean, what did you tell them when they were stressing about this? Or were they stressing?
They were, they were. Like my 11th grader, he's all honors classes. So even he was stressing, but in a different way, because he's very confident in his abilities. He's a very smart boy. But nonetheless, I think there was more worry about, with all the honors classes, are we going to be able to get the same support online as we get in person? And it was just a matter of encouraging them, assuring them that, we're doing this together. I'm here for them. Their teachers are there for them. We're there for each other. And the first couple of days this year of virtual learning, it was actually really refreshing when I knew my kids were online and they were logging into their classrooms, and like I heard laughing from them, and I heard them helping each other and encouraging each other. So it was really important to me to make sure that they knew that they were capable, we would get through it. It wasn't the end all be all of everything, and it wasn't permanent either.
So tell me, good or bad, no more snow days?
You know, we talked about that because they still have kids going face to face. So
Yeah.
I don't know, in the event that, you know, they do technically have a snow day, are they going to cancel virtual? I'd say probably not. Probably those kids who go face to face will just have to go virtually. I don't know.
Well, you know, the old saying was always, "You can't escape death and you can't escape taxes." They're going to add school days to that too.
Yeah.
So
well,
kids are getting screwed right now.
yeah. They're
Yeah,
definitely
they
like
are.
my kids started way later than normal. I mean, they didn't start until their first official day was this past Friday, which was really
Yeah.
weird to me because normally, you know, it's like immediately preceding Labor Day. But then when we got the calendar for when their school year ends, it ends like almost the end of June, which means they're definitely paying the price for, you know, missing school last year and starting late. Like it's getting tacked on. Not my
Hi,
senior,
Jason.
of course.
So
My-
how are they learning how to continue to bully each other though? Like now that it's online, how do you even bully the other kids? No, I'm just kidding. That might be a good thing, honestly.
Well,
that
you
we
know,
lost.
Brandon, I hate to say this because I'm definitely anti-bullying. Nobody wants to be bullied. Nobody should be
Right.
putting up with bullying. But part of that interaction actually helps development with people.
Yeah.
And you're right about that. The good interaction and the bad interaction with kids is important, even with other students out there. And I wonder how they're going to adjust, because we were all worried as society, especially people in their 30s and 40s, that kids are so attached to their social media and their phones and stuff like that they're losing the ability to communicate with each other live.
Yeah.
And with that loss of ability, this is just going to add to that. I mean, do you think, Karen, you're a little younger than us, barely, just barely by a smidge, and you're still old, so I don't want to hear it.
Fuck you, I'm still old.
But
I know.
your son was definitely part of that. I don't give a fuck if it ain't online and it ain't a video game. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. My son addicted to video games until like recently, until his PS4 broke. Okay.
That's what you got to do. It broke.
Broke.
Mom
broke.
didn't jab a screwdriver in there repeatedly.
No,
It broke.
I did not. No, I did not jab a screwdriver in there. He broke it himself because he like is an asshole, basically.
Oh,
but-
Ray quit. I know.
You can tell us the truth after the broadcast. We'll find out. Because we know he might be watching. You don't want him to know that. I get that.
It's okay. He already knows I say it to his face.
Now, Brandon, you are actually partly of that generation. You're definitely the later half of that generation, but you were...
He's only like 4 years older than Taylor.
Yeah, that's what I said, but he was to the later half. I mean, iPhones didn't even come out till 2009.
Yeah,
So-
I was even late to that game. I didn't get
Yeah.
a smartphone till I was halfway through my first semester of college. So
Now, do you... Oh, well, then you're not going to be a good help for this, are you?
I can
'Cause you don't... But, okay, well, actually, you are, because your friends were probably also into that social media stuff, I would assume, if you had friends. Did you have friends?
a couple.
Okay, so yeah,
I
we're
paid
good.
them well,
We're good.
and
You had to pay them. So, did you think that at all it affected anything with your friends being with them being so attached to social media?
I think that the friends that got a little too deep into it and didn't know how to disassociate the fact that people disconnect from actual like it's one of those things where like when you see all the negativity in the social media and online conversation, it does not reflect any of the conversations you have face to face in the real world, right?
Right.
It's just too anonymous, too fake, and if you look at social media too much in this kind of a time and believe that to be what everyone is actually like, it can really mess you up. I'm a little. I'm not sure about the generation now with their TikToks and stuff. So that's
Well, TikTok's
that's
a whole
scary.
new thing. That app popped up for women on TikTok. What the fuck is that? Next thing you know, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's-
Like, it was that quick. Like, what the fuck is TikTok? All I know about TikTok is people turn into Mega Man and shit like that on videos. Like, all the advertisements, I'm seeing this stuff. Like, what is this? First, I thought it was real. I'm like, yes, finally, superheroes are a thing. And it turned out to be fake. I was sadly disappointed with it. Now, speaking of the social media, how do you deal with your kids in the social media thing? Do you think it's really affected them? Do you think they were more prepared for this?
Me?
Yeah. Nikki, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, my kids are very tech savvy. They definitely didn't lack communication with their friends. You know, they definitely stayed in touch. My youngest, who insists he's going to be a YouTuber when he grows up. That's going to be his career. He doesn't need college because he's going to become a millionaire off of YouTube, which I have to say, the kid has tons of followers.
Well, that and he's following mom's footsteps right now, isn't he?
Yeah,
Isn't that what we're doing? I was like,
he's actually taught me some stuff. He was down here trying to work on some tech issues with me, and I'm like, okay. I mean, he's onto something. They definitely didn't lack communication with friends, but that face-to-face interaction, definitely played a toll. The physical, touch. They're boys, so they're not walking up and hugging people. But I know
boys do that though. They're always wrestling with each other. They're always doing that stuff.
And I will have to say, there was probably very many arguments of why they can't go be with their friends. They weren't grasping it. They weren't, because I'm not going to get into the, the political side of it, but they knew what I was saying about it. And they're like, but wait, why can't I go hang out with so-and-so? Why can't I go do this? And even though I might have been a little, let's say lax about some of the stuff, there was other parents who were very cautious, and with every right, I don't fault them for that. But the kids just didn't get it. They didn't understand, and even still to this day, they miss their friends. They want to be with their friends, but
isn't it ironic though, if you really think about it? I mean, when they come home all the time from school, they've always been right to their game, right to the social platforms, and ignoring it. And now that they can't go see them,
right,
all they want is to go see them. I find that ironic.
Grass is always greener.
That's exactly what it is too. I see you brought your friend Brandon. We're glad to have him here.
I do have to say though, my kids found themselves playing more video games. So it wasn't necessarily a positive from my perspective. I found them online a whole lot more, playing video games a whole lot more, being more just submersed in to video games and technology, where I was like, hey, let's play a board game, let's get some face-to-face interaction. And they're like, what? No.
Well, one thing I was saying before, I think it was right before you got on, was how families were actually brought together in a lot of ways through this too. In ways they hadn't been before. But at the same time, you take people like me, and I was back to video games for a bit. I mean, me and Karen was waiting too, because Final Fantasy was just released,
Final
the
Fantasy
remake,
VII
and we're
came
waiting.
out. Yeah, we were.
And I was dead set. I was going to wait.
One.
Yeah, I was going to wait until they all came out, and I just couldn't do it any longer. I had to play it, and I'm just going video game after video game after video game. I felt like I was a kid again. I had no responsibilities, even though we all did. We still had our bills, and a lot of people were scared of those bills, like mortgages and stuff, because they didn't understand what a lot of companies were doing too, is that you still owed the money when you were back, and people got afraid of that.
Right.
And how were they going to come up with the money?
It's really interesting too that it's hard to almost take this perspective, but for especially maybe the younger kids, the middle school age, this is not they don't realize just how weird this is, just how crazy this really is, because for them, they just got to middle school. I guess this is normal. Sometimes the world shuts down for a while, right?
I mean, a lot of things that are happening right now are going to become a standard in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And like I said, when it comes to school days or kids just being sick off work, there's no more getting your homework from school, go online. And that was going on even before COVID.
Yeah.
There was a lot of online learning still going on. I know, especially we lived in Rochester Hills for a while, and that was going on with their schools as well.
Yeah, Taylor did a lot of online learning the last year and a half of his high school. It was all pretty much online. But that was so he could play catch up and graduate semi on time.
I know one thing.
Oops.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Brandon.
No, if we are still looking at the good things, another positive is even just in not just school but in work life too. A lot more people realized how much work they can do from home. Maybe save on commutes, maybe save on the money of going out to lunches and stuff. That was a positive thing for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, as far as food goes and going out to eat, there was a lot more people preparing food at home. And I'm sorry, but home cooked meals are almost a thing of the past for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's how quick you can go. I mean, when I was growing up, it was more a matter of we're cooking, don't eat before dinner.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I was with my group of friends, and sometimes we didn't eat before dinner, but we were drunk as fuck.
Oh, Bell.
So when dinner came around, like, we don't care what it is. Oh God, I
Give
gotta
me
go.
a chalupa.
Chalupas didn't even exist. We had choices. We had burritos and we had tacos. If you wanted something else, that was it.
That was it. That's all you could have.
Right.
That was
I know.
it.
One thing I tried to encourage my kids, not to say that they did it. I actually started one, whether it was for myself, for them, for my grandchildren, I don't know, what it'll be used for, but I encouraged them to keep a diary because I was like, you guys, this is like history in the making. This has never happened in our lifetime. This has never happened in our, this is not something that we normally go through. Like keep
No.
track of what's happening. Because later down the road, when your kids are in school, they're going to be learning about it. And for you to be able to have that journal or that diary or whatever, to be able to bring back to them and say, look, this is, I lived it. This is what was happening. But I'm pretty sure they didn't heed mom's advice.
No, they never did.
I did one for them.
And Jan here, that's a great point for you, Jan. That the Facebook games and everything did help people get through a lot of this. It was anything you could do really to pass the time, and this is where Facebook really shined. I think is most people saw Facebook now. Mind you, you're still bombarded with the political shit. You're still bombarded with so much, but it was their only way of connecting. And I mean, companies like Zoom came out there. Zoom was just amazing in this. They upgraded everything. They did everything they could. No, we're not getting paid to advertise for Zoom, but it was amazing to have them. And Facebook had jumped in with the Messenger Live, the Messenger Rooms, and it's been really helpful to get people to reconnect together.
Just makes me laugh so hard because Skype was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, like we were the shit. Get out of here.
Been here for 20
We didn't think
years.
we had to change anything. And they did. Not well enough, though, because Zoom's becoming king. I'm still getting people with this, like, why aren't you doing it on Zoom? I'm like, because we don't want to. That's all. We just don't want to.
We like it this way.
I use Zoom for work meetings.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Monica says Zoom helped her keep in touch, too. Has, aside from the work meetings, Karen, anybody else, has the advent of social media really helped you during this as well, even though you got to scroll through a lot of bullshit? Has it?
When I look through like Facebook and everything like that, it does help me keep connected with people I know, my friends that I wasn't allowed to see, social distancing. I was, keeping up with my friend Virginia through Facebook, and we got to like trade nail polishes, but like in a social distancing way and things like that. And it helped me kind of connect with people I used to work with and my friends. And it was the substitution that I needed for actual social interaction, because I like going to hang out with my friends. I like, a couple people hanging out, watching a movie, doing whatever. That's always a fun thing. But when you don't have that ability anymore, you get, you just
Did
end up.
anybody here like make new friends along with reconnecting to the other friends?
I did. Yeah. I made tons of friends across the globe. Although I will say for a minute, I removed myself from social media because it was scary. Like some of the stuff I was seeing was scaring the living daylights out of me. And I just couldn't. I'm a very empath person. So when people are going through things, I kind of take on their, like I feel their pain, literally. And I just had to like step away for a minute because it was freaking me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
You had to develop a certain Facebook tactic because you want to keep up with what's going on with your family and friends, right? So you'd have to scroll through and be like, Biden, Trump, Biden, Biden, Trump, Trump. Oh, my buddy got a dog. Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump.
But that's all you could really see on everything too.
Exactly.
You just go pictures only.
And all you did is you're like, I just want to know how the hell you're doing right now. And you had to remember your family members, actually search them out to see what they posted to
Right.
find anything anymore.
Yeah,
It
what's
got
your name
really
again?
difficult. I'm going to take a step back a little bit really quick. I had already asked Brandon, if there was one thing that COVID stopped having that you loved that has, maybe it's come back now or it hasn't come back yet, what would it be?
That sounded specifically targeted. Yeah, no, I was only like
Said your name.
I was only like a week or two out from getting a stand-up spot that could have gotten me into my first paid gig. And so everything was really getting really cool, really exciting. and it just all fell out. Everything fell out, and I took that pretty hard for a little while, but I had to keep reminding myself everybody that was trying to do stand up had the same issue I was. So
I was gonna say I just heard him.
Sorry, yeah, they broke it.
But yeah, no, it was like I just had to remind myself everyone lost something. Everyone had to give up some things that they were excited about. So
Well,
it is slowly coming back. So
I've been doing my karaoke business for a long time, way longer than I want to admit. And I finally just started branching out a couple of years ago, and I was supposed to start 3 brand new bars. I just got a whole bunch of new DJs, and everything was just going great. And the week that it shut down was the week all this stuff was supposed to start, and it just literally cut it right off. No DJs want to go back to work, and it felt like my business was crashing. But I got to look at it positively. My business was here before. My business used to be a business of one. I built it. I can do it again, and it was an adventure. It was a lot of fun building it. Nothing is set to push you way back to where you can't get forward again. Most of us, especially when you look at the ages, people who are 30 or 25 or 40, you haven't even lived half your life yet. You've only lived a few years truly as an adult on your own. You can easily restart any aspect of your life and do it again and do it differently. You may miss some of the things you did as a kid, but let's face it, some of the things we wouldn't do again. Some of the things we might. Absolutely on that. What
I'm
about
just
you,
glad there
Nikki?
wasn't video in some of the things that I did.
Well, there is, but again, Pornhub.
that's great because they didn't watch the beginning part, so they didn't.
Right.
They don't know
Yeah,
that reference.
there was a lot of Pornhub conversation going on earlier because we were just like, well, what did we do during a shutdown? And pretty much the answer was the same for everybody. Like, we got to go somewhere else with this. Nikki, what about you? What would be the one thing you would say that you have missed since shutdown?
It was the face-to-face human touch gathering. Sure, I had it with my family, but I'm a person who likes to hug. And so it was very abnormal for me to know that I couldn't, if I wanted to see my cousin, I couldn't hug my cousin. My cousin had a newborn baby during COVID, and I've yet to meet her because my cousin is so worried about, just about her getting sick that I've yet to meet, an extension of my family. So I think it's just, I really missed being able to go out and have fun. We didn't do it a lot anyways. So, you can't miss something that you don't do, but I really do and still do miss just the human touch, the human interaction with friends and family extensions beyond my household. That was really hard.
I went through that before I get to you, Karen, because I just went through this weekend, actually. I'm finally working. I got 2 bars that I'm actually working at entertaining. And it was a weird story. You were talking about the social distancing, and I'm a very touchy person. I like to hug. I like to shake hands. I like that interaction as well. And this poor girl comes up to ask me a question. She's asking about a song. Do I have it? She wants to sing it. And I couldn't hear, and I kept taking a step forward to hear, and she kept jumping back. And I'm like chasing her around the bar because nowhere in my head does it click social distancing. And we've got masks and everything, we're doing good, but nowhere does it click social distancing. I came back in like 5 minutes later. I'm like, I'm so sorry, you were so trying to get away from me, and all I was doing was chasing you down. I felt so terrible about that. What were you gonna say? Exactly. So every time I walk by, like.
So that was going to be one of the things that I miss is okay, so when you go to the cat used to be butt to gut every time. You couldn't take a step and not run into somebody, okay? Which is something I kind of miss because I like the crowd, I like the people, I like to interact.
You're part of something.
Yeah, sometimes drunk people can be fucked up, but whatever. But
hey, don't down on drunk people. They are why I have a career.
I know, but sometimes it's a little annoying when some dude tries to shove his tongue down your throat when he's drunk.
That's only you, don't worry. I have not yet had a dude try to shove it. Wait a minute.
I was going to say, don't finish that sentence.
I've been really drunk. I cannot vouch for everything that's happened at my job. I'm sorry, I can't say that yet.
I was excited and I missed you. I thought that it would have been okay.
Well, if you weren't here, I'd have told the story, but I was trying to be nice, Brandon. My biggest thing, believe it or not, that I miss among anything, and this is kind of aside from the contact stuff, but actually places and stuff, we're talking movie theaters.
Yeah.
Movie theaters are the big one I miss. That was just something, it was always something to do. There was always something new coming out. If you had nothing, even if you were alone, which I don't usually go to the movies alone, but there were times when I'm like, there's nobody around, let me go see what's showing at night. And it was just an escape no matter what was going on for a couple hours. Even shitty movies gave you something to talk about. I mean,
sure.
not like Netflix shitty, but shitty movies.
But shitty movies, just shitty.
A really big one that I almost forgot about because it's been so long since they all got canceled. Concerts, man.
Concerts,
Yes.
especially because summer. That's when it
Yeah.
hits it.
For me, a concert isn't a concert that I'm having fun at unless I'm in a pit getting shoved around, crowd surfing, someone's got to bleed. That's my kind of
Yeah.
concert. And you just can't do that when everyone's got to be 6 feet apart. So,
Right.
Yeah, I kind of
You
want to
can't
change
bleed
my
on other
answer.
people.
Brandon made me want to change my answer because I really do miss concerts too. Like I miss my DTE summers. I mean, or Pine Knob, whatever you want to call it. I miss my summer concerts. Even just like little Freedom Hill. I had tickets to go see Alicia Keys. I love Alicia Keys, and it was supposed to be like right around my birthday. Didn't get to do that one.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody
you know?
canceled out, and I have a
Yeah.
friend who actually runs a concert tour for everybody every year. It's just a big group he does, and it's a summer concert tour. And he had nothing going this year. Everything he had was canceled. He had shirts printed up. He had everything for
Who
it.
was this again?
One of my friends. We can't really announce names here, Karen.
Oh, I forgot.
Sorry.
Yeah, Karen.
What the hell? Sorry,
No,
Karen.
I just
if
wanted
that
to
is your
remember who
real
it
name,
was.
PJ Gutter Slut, we know you.
I thought you were
Oh, we're getting
familiar.
a little deep.
Not at all. Her name was not PJ. All right, so.
Is it really Karen though? Karen?
No, we just had to have a Karen, so
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not one of those kind of Karens, though.
Yeah, she
we
has
only have a
clean
few
voice.
minutes left, so we're gonna talk a little bit more. We got just a few minutes left before we're gonna end the show right now. So aside from the concerts, which was big, did anybody take advantage of actually going outside and actually doing stuff, or did most people just sit in their house and do nothing and whine to themselves?
No, we actually we did a lot of hikes at Pony Creek because that was allowed. You could go, which incidentally we would go and I would be like, holy crap! Like there's like hundreds of people, which was great. I mean, you got to be around people safely. But yeah, we did a lot of hiking. We went on a lot of like outdoor adventures because, I mean, think about it. At the very beginning here, it's a family of 5 locked in a 1-room hotel room. That was pure hell. So we had to do something, just to break up the monotony and the boredom. So we did a lot of hiking. We had to because I don't know about you guys, but we did a lot of eating while we were isolated. I think I packed on more than the.
I was
more
gonna say weight gain. Who had it?
Oh, it was brutal.
And
I
I'm
was-
already fat as hell.
Yeah, I went to go put my jeans on for the first time, and I was like, "These won't button. It's time to get to work."
That's because the COVID virus actually was known to cause denim to shrink.
Oh,
It was not us. It affected the denim.
So my jeans are infected. I better get them tested.
Yes. Get them washed, clean, and stretched, and they'll fit fine again. What about
Yeah, no,
you,
I-
Brandon? Because you look, you've never gained a pound in your life.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I eat like absolute garbage. And
Fuck you.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I'm sure my heart is terrifying, but everything else is great. Like Dr. Oz said one time, he was like, yeah, if someone eats like terribly and they don't gain any weight, it might just all be going to their heart. And I'm like, shut up, Dr. Oz.
Did your eating habits change at all? I mean, should you
Honestly-
have gained or lost weight? Did anything change with you?
I guess they stayed about the same because you got to remember too, I did continue to work, so my schedule didn't change all that much.
Well, I had. Go ahead.
For 4.5 years, I did work at Stony Creek though, so I just kept going back there because I know all the scary little places no one knows about.
We
Ooh,
don't
maybe
want to
you
talk
can
about what
call me.
happens in those places, do we?
Maybe you can tell me how to get to Mescaline Mountain because I've hunted it and I cannot figure it out. I think that was really high when I went there.
I think all of us were high at some point when we went to those places. That's what they were known for.
We set up a couple grills for them out there so they could have some substance while they're out there.
I mean, I definitely have my moments with eating different things. I'm not a person who generally likes sweets at all. I don't like sweets and like junk food in general. I'm still a big guy. I just don't like that. Meat and cheese, I'm all about.
Yes.
But in the general, and I found myself literally during COVID, I was just sitting there one day and I had a pint of ice cream right here and a spoon, watching TV and sitting on the couch. I'm like, damn. Now I actually feel fat. And I like had my first moment because I don't eat that stuff typically. You know, I'm big, but I'm relatively healthy with the stuff I actually eat.
Did you have
Which is
one
good.
tear coming down and you were
I
watching,
did because I was
watching
depressed.
Jack and Jill?
I was depressed. No, I'm not going to watch Jack and Jill. I was not that fucking depressed. That would definitely not have lifted my spirits.
No.
I know we ate a lot of ice cream. I like to the point finally where my husband was like, okay, no more. Like
Yeah.
I remember we got to one point where he was like, okay, enough is enough. Like, and I literally said to him, like, I don't want to eat. I'm just really doing it out of boredom. But it's all disgusting to me at this point. Like, I don't want to eat nothing else. No more.
I'm going to bring up this time. This is actually a good point that a lot of people are feeling right now. As a DJ, I'm going to tell you, I had a lot of people that were about to get married. All my weddings were coming up and everything was canceled. I had stuff going on in Florida, all around here. Some of it's coming back, but a lot of it isn't. And Jan seems very concerned, you know, with the virus going away so your daughter can get married. There's one thing you have to understand, Jan, throughout about all this. You can still get married. Things may be different. Things may not be the same as they once were, but the one thing that is going to remain is the love that brings you into that and brings them. You may not have it perfect at the time, but I know people that are getting married and did this during COVID on their own. They filled out the documents, they're already married. They're planning a reception.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
just
does not
happened
have to
with
stop it.
One of
Yeah.
my really good friends, they had it all set up for October, and they just 2 or 3 days ago had to tell everybody like we can't have anybody but the like immediate family. But once everything clears up, we'll set something up. But they're still gonna get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ultimately, what is marriage ultimately about? It's about the joining of the husband and wife. Anyways, I know, like all the pomp and circumstance is amazing. And, it's just part of tradition and you want to be able to celebrate with everybody you love. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the wedding can still go on and the party can happen later.
Yeah,
okay.
things will change in your life. Things are always going to change. It's going to be different from the way we normally do things that we're never expecting to do them. And it doesn't mean you have to stop, and it doesn't mean you have to fear it. You can still have that. You'll still have the socialization, and the love, if it's strong, is never going to go anywhere. You're
Right.
still family. They will be family. That is one thing no virus can tear apart. No other person can tear apart. Nothing on this planet can tear apart family and love. As long as you hold that there, it's going to be there. It's going to be strong. And I also agree with you that you ate those big jugs of cheese balls because those things are fucking great. So I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yes, Jan, those are the best.
Plus,
But-
once you have that love and you have that marriage, you can wait on that party. And once you do have that party with everybody, you don't have to say that wedding word, and it'll be way cheaper. Just have a
Yeah,
rager.
and some
that
people
is true.
some people are actually doing, because of how long it's going, they're planning like anniversary parties.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't have the wedding, but we're going to have an anniversary, and we're going to do our vows again on our first anniversary, and that is cool too. A lot of
Yeah.
people have handled it differently. Our graduates, a lot of kids did not get to graduate this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that
you
is
know,
something
in
I
s-
feel really bad about.
I feel
all those
bad
kids who
about it.
Missed the rite of passage.
But many, absolutely, Gabe, absolutely. But many people, I feel bad they didn't get to graduate in the normal way, but they got something unique. There's a place, Marine City is a city close to where I am, and we went out there to eat. And when we were driving down the road, we saw every light post had a picture of every student that
Yeah, I
graduated
remember
down
that.
there.
Yeah, it was you and me.
Yeah.
It was you
And that
me.
is a memory that they get that we never did get. And
Yeah.
I love how schools are coming together to make this difference too, to make it still special for you. They may have missed that walk, but everybody is doing everything they can to make it more special. And that's also true for you, Jan. You may miss the ceremony on the day you wanted it and when you wanted it, but there's a lot of things that postpone things that we never plan.
Right.
There will be something and the memory that's going to make it special. And often tragedy makes for the best memories. And I don't mean like deep, deep tragedy, but you ever go on a vacation, you could have a great time. You come back, you talk about how fun your vacation was and it was awesome. And pretty much you don't talk about it a lot again. But you go on a vacation and things got rained out and things didn't work like you planned. You had to do something else and you had to stay indoors. Those stories stay with you forever. Never, never think that not being able to do something when you want exactly as planned is a bad thing, because often it can be one of the best things of your life. So never let
True
go
story.
and never worry.
True story. Love it.
It is. There's going to be... Okay, there's going to be Simple and at the house. What was that? Simple, I don't know. Oh, there's
She's
their
talking
wedding.
about
Their
Jay and
wedding.
Sheena's
Okay, I got
wedding.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Their wedding is going to be Simple and at the house. Well, then what are you worried about, Jan?
That's another thing that's
Cheaper.
a lot of happening like during all this. Did you guys notice like the birthday parties, like the kids who would be like, you know, they would be on the side of the street and the police department, the fire department, everybody would come out and show out for these kids. You would have never had that before, and that's pretty, I mean, that's talk about a community coming together, you know, to celebrate somebody, still make them feel amazing, probably more amazing than, you know, grandma coming over for some cake and ice cream.
I like my grandma.
Brandon likes his grandma.
Those drive-by things that they started doing actually turned out to be kind of a cool thing for some people. I mean, that really helped them with
My
those.
brother's kid had a birthday actually, and they wanted to have the birthday party in there. And it was amazing. He recorded the drive-by for his birthday because so many neighborhoods are doing that during the COVID. And then the cops came down, and the cops turned on their sirens and everything, and the fire trucks just for this little kid. And I'm like, that's an example of something that would have been a distant memory that you're going to remember forever.
Yes.
You know, and that is so huge. Things that go according to plan lack adventure needed to create that memory.
I love that. I'm going to turn that into a quote on a t-shirt, Keith. I love that.
It can't be. Well, we are basically going to be about done with this. Everybody was really good to have you on here. Coming up on Wednesday, we're going to have our topic is going to be Big Heart, Heavy Mind. And what that's going to mostly deal with is people who like to give and just have spent their life doing for others, have tried to always make everything better for everyone around them. But inside, they're often hurting and they don't know what to do and nobody's there to help them. We touched on some of this during our intro video, and Lenny was one who said, we're going to totally make this a topic. Well, you know what? We're going to. It was actually the basis and the situation that brought up this whole group to begin with. So it's all about, if you're one of those people that love to go out and literally think you're brought on this planet to live for other people and you want to do things for other people, and that actually makes you genuinely good. But when you have a problem, who do you turn to? We're going to cover a lot of that. We're going to discuss the actual good things about it and bad things we always do on ESV. I want to make sure you don't forget to like... Who was that?
That was me.
I want to make sure you don't forget to like and follow our YouTube and Facebook pages. Just look up Ear, Shoulder, Voice, or like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. We'll be glad to have you. Don't forget, always engage. Go on that site. Ask topics you'd like to see included. Coming up this Sunday after this Wednesday show, it's going to be all about TV shows that had an impact in your life. We'll always have a few new panel of guests on here. We'll have our mains plus some new people as well for you to meet. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you again for watching ESV. We are very happy to have you. Karen, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on tonight. I hope you had a good time.
I did. It was fantastic. I love this.
It was absolutely good. I hope you have a great night. We look forward to seeing you again soon. You are amazing. And as usual, here we have Nicole. Whoops, we lost her. There she is. All right, Nicole. We lost you for a brief second. Might have been my fault.
Let me out of here.
Nicole, absolutely great. Absolutely wonderful. We hope to see you again. Every time you have you on, you definitely make it far more exciting. And we will see you again soon.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
And this is me and Brandon with ESV as well. Brandon, as always, you're absolutely fantastic. Take care of yourself. Thank you again for being on. What is on the ceiling that is so important?
A spider that's getting closer and closer, and I don't know what to do.
Just stay still. It's like a bear.
Wait, I don't think that's what you're supposed to do.
I just wanted to see if you do it. Brandon, well, we'll give you a moment to go smack that spider. Thank you again for coming. We'll talk to you all again later. Thank you for joining ESV. Well, that one interesting.
That was definitely interesting.
See, but like now I'm seeing it in between the fan, so it looks like it's a strobe light, like it's a horror film. I don't know what to do.
Like, Brandon, he's way more afraid of you than
Don't you
are
kill
of
him.
No, I don't kill
Don't you
him.
kill him.
Just-
You go grab him, and you carry him outside and set him free.
He'll be
Put him
fine.
in the
I'll
grass.
just let him live and crawl in my
Or you
mouth
could-
tonight.
I was gonna say you can let him live and eat the flies in your house.
Or he's
actually-
gonna crawl up your nose while you sleep.
I got a couple
Don't
of
do
fruit flies. I do have
Don't
a
do
couple
that,
of
Nikki.
fruit flies, so I'm gonna offer him a contract to get rid of those fruit flies.
We know we're still alive, Gabe. By the way.
Well, you could always just get rid of the fruit if you wanted to. It is shoulder chat after show, Gabe. This is just something. Those who are tuning in saying we forgot to cut it off. This is just something we do at the end to talk to each other, and you can kind of watch us go before people comment on the side. Hey, you guys, you're live.
Yeah, we know.
We're here.
All right,
You guys, good show. That was a good show.
It was funnier when we didn't know we were live the first time.
It was. I wish we would have been recording.
That is how it originally started. Then we watched it back. We're like, that's good. Let's just do that. Let's
Yeah.
just keep it.
I wish
It's
we
good.
would have been recording, but
No, there's some things we said on there we shouldn't have been recording.
Yeah, let's make sure not to record the pre-show. We learned that today.
Yeah, don't record the pre-show.
But no, this is a really good one. I think Nikki.
I thought it worked good. There was good engagement on there. Everything
Yeah.
actually went really well. I think people were watching. Hopefully they enjoy it. I'm going to look forward. It's going to be a little darker on Wednesday and definitely a little brighter on Sunday. Which is probably how it's going to work. And there's a finger coming at you.
it's the right way to
I don't
do
know
it.
who that is,
Gregory,
Nikki.
it's my husband's. Jeez.
This is the
Point
one
the
time you
camera at
don't
him,
want a
tell him
finger
say
coming
hi.
towards you.
Huh?
One time you don't want a finger coming towards you.
No, you don't want him to say hi right now.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to take your word for that. All right, I think it's going to go well. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was really good.
It was.
Yeah. Not that I didn't enjoy having you, Karen, but I miss Lenny. I wish she was here with us, but I'm sure she's with us in spirit.
Yeah, Lenny will be here. She's going to be here probably on Wednesday for sure.
Lenny,
I'm
if you're out
sorry, I'm
there,
no
we miss you.
substitution for
Yeah,
Lenny.
come on, Karen. Why can't you be Lenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all picking on
Well,
you. Why
because
can't you be
I'm
Lenny?
fat and
Stop
redheaded.
it.
Nobody said fat was ugly.
That is
I didn't say it
beautiful.
was ugly. I just
I'm
said I was
fucking
fat and
beautiful,
redheaded.
girl.
We're fluffy.
I never
prefer
said I
fluffy,
wasn't
not fat.
beautiful.
Exactly. Exactly. Brandon's like, yeah, but skinny rules. Fuck off.
Screw you with your high metabolism, Brandon.
Exactly.
My
I
boyfriend's
didn't ask
skinny as
for
fuck
this.
too, Brandon. It's
I didn't
okay.
ask, dude. You know how hard it is for me to stay and up straight. Like, there's no, I have no mass. I'm
You were
very
just like
easily-
teetering. You were at the bar and you were teetering in the wind. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of trouble with that. People literally could do that. I'm like, I'm like one of those wacky inflatable arm flailing tube mans.
How old are you, though, Brandon? How old are you?
25.
Oh, so that's why you got such a darn high metabolism. You're still just a baby.
Wait till it catches up and like 30 years old to 32 years old. He just,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
there.
all of a sudden I have one Oreo
35.
and I'm,
Yeah, 35. Brandon's going to be like 400 pounds. This beard.
By
We'll
that
still
time,
love
we'll all
you.
be down going, yeah, sucks, doesn't it?
My
We'll
frame-
be skinny. We'll
Yeah.
be little
oh
twigs.
yeah, the flip flop. My poor frame can't handle that because it's been holding up like 19 pounds of crap.